Hi there, welcome back to the YouTube channel. I'm back again with yet another Spider-Man, and we're looking at one of the villains today from the main set, and it is obviously what you're here for. Lady Octopus inspired Inventor, or if you're playing on Arena or MTGO like I will be, Merata, Neuron hacker. One blue mana, just one mana for a human scientist villain who's 0/2, but whenever you draw your first or second card each turn, you get to put an ingenuity counter on Lady Octopus, and then you may tap her to cast an artifact spell from your hand with mana value less than or equal to the number of ingenuity counters on Lady Octopus without paying its casting cost. Wow. We have a very good new artifact commander who, although this deck is quite high up, and I'll go through which bracket it is in a minute because of what I've included, is going to see a lot of play, I feel, going forward. Maybe everywhere, because it's just very good from my point of view. So here we go. Here's my take on Lady Octopus or Merata for today. Hope you enjoy this one. So as I was saying, this one's one of the top end of the decks I play on MTGO. This turned up in bracket 4 today because of the cards I've got in it, which we'll go through as we get there, but you can probably see the list there briefly, but we'll get to them. We are starting at the beginning with 32 creatures in the deck, starting with Hangerback Walker and Marketback Walker. They're not great, I'll be honest, with Lady Octopus, but I just like them. Hangerback Walker gives you all the Thopters, which can be quite helpful, and Marketback Walker, when we get there, can give us some extra card draw, which we kind of need with this deck. From there, Ethereum Sculptor appears to make the casting cost of our artifact spells when we haven't got Lady Octopus active cheaper. The Steel Swarm Operator from Edge of Eternities comes in because we might as well have a 1/1 that gives us a little bit of mana ramp as well to help us cast our artifact spells until we can get the ingenuity counters up on the lady. But we've got a way of getting the counters up quite happily because we've got a lot of proliferate in the deck, starting with Thrumming Bird. And then, traditionally you have to have Emery Lurker of the lock-in if you're playing any artifact deck, which I'm sure you all know. Flux Channeler helps us do the whole proliferation to make the ingenuity counters go up. Foundry Inspector cuts the cost of our artifacts down, as we all know. And then one of the Spider-Man cards that does fit in here quite nicely is Iron Spider Stark Upgrade, because we do like chucking around the +1/+1 counters on our artifact creatures that will be coming up. So this was a bit of a no-brainer when I thought about it to go in the deck. Lulu Stern Guardian comes in from Final Fantasy. Whenever an opponent attacks you, choose a target attacking creature. Put a stun counter on that creature. That's fine. But then you can pay 4 mana to proliferate any stage you want to, and you can do it at instant speed as well. So it does help. Master of Ethereum just pumps all our artifact creatures up and makes their power and toughness a little bit more. Well, his power and toughness great depending on how many artifacts we have in play. No brainer again with Side Master Thopterus because of all the artifacts we have in the deck. And from there, the Scalding Crawler. Because we do want to draw additional cards, we might as well just punish our opponents for drawing those additional cards as well. This does make you a target, be warned, even if it is from Foundations, it still makes you a target. Surge Conductor comes in from the Edge of Eternities commander set. Whenever another non-token artifact you control enters, you get to proliferate again, so yay. Master Transmuter, going old school here, bounce an artifact into our hand, and then we can put an artifact card from our hand onto the battlefield. Again, a card that probably gets every removal spell pointing at it before you can get it activated, but if it survives, you're in a good place. Phyrexian Metamorph, just to copy anything we need on the battlefield that help us out. Solemn Sims for the land search and card draw. And Tekutha, Inquiry Dominus, might as well be here because we're going to proliferate once. We might as well proliferate twice and get on with it. Hopefully we'll be able to remove some counters from things to make them indestructible, but if we can't, oh well, it's the way it is. The first of the game changes. As a Lord High Artificer, there's no point not playing this in this deck, and we all know what it does by now. Likewise, Velducan Archmage gives us card draw when we start hitting our artifact counts. Khan just gets big and gives us a whole load of colourless mana, which does help. The Kadutha Forge Master is also on the game changes list for some reason. Sacrifice 3 artifacts, you get to go and find another artifact to put it into play. Mechan Assembler comes in from Edge of Eternity as well, because we do like having our little robots, so we might as well have this triggering once every turn. Mole Drifter for some card draw. Cyberdrive Awakener also in, gives all our artifact creatures flying, and when we enter we can turn all of our artifacts into 4/4 artifact creatures until the end of turn, so yay. No-brainer with Kappa Cannoneer in the deck. Why would you not have this in here if you had all the artifacts going along? The Ward 4 makes it hard to deal with, and it does get big very quickly. Worm Coil Engines, it gives some Death Touch lifelink, and then our 2 little worm tokens when it dies off. And Memnarch. Not one you usually see, but let's go and nick everybody else's artifacts and make sure we've got all the best artifacts in play on our side of the board. And we can turn things into artifacts if we really need them to be artifacts as well, which kind of does help sometimes, especially if you've got 7 mana kicking around. From there, Thought Monitor for the infinity and the extra card draw. Platinum Emporium, just so our life total can't change and we can have a nice big beater until it gets killed off. Phyrexian Triniform, because I still like this card. It's still one of the cards I want to make work in an artifact deck. I have this vision of attacking with sort of like 15 golems, maybe. That would be nice, eventually. Anyway, and there, Triplicate Titan to give us all the nice ones when they die off as well. We only have 1 sorcery in the deck, and that is Vivisurgeon's Insight, just so we can draw 3 and proliferate. And then we have 2 instants in the deck. Cyclonic Rift helps us control the board. An Experimental Augury, again, to proliferate, so we can keep those Ingenuity counters going on the lady. But then, I'll be honest, we have all the artifacts, which is where this deck really does shine. So, Mox Tantalite, Soul Ring for ramp. Synthesizer Lab Ship comes in from Edge of Eternities as well. Yeah, it's a nice one at the beginning of combat on your turn. We can turn one of our other artifacts into a 2/2 artifact creature with flying until the end turn, so we get a little bit of damage in that way. More ramp with the Arcane Signet Contagion class, chuck around a -1/-1 counter, sorry, and then do the whole proliferation side. Folio of Fancies just means we can help everybody draw cards, which we like, because obviously we need to draw 2, lovely to draw 2 a turn and to get the Ingenuity counters going. Howling Mine helps with that, obviously. Then Mindstone for some ramps. Sapphire Medallion to cut the cost of our things down. We can start sacking the odd artifact off if we need to proliferate, which is always useful. Cloud Key to choose artifacts and make them cost even less. And then Insight Engine from Edge of Eternity's Commander decks. Put a charge counter on this artifact and draw a card for each charge counter on it. Midnight Clock does the whole let's shuffle everything back in and put our... We can get 1 counter on here. We can probably proliferate this up quite quickly to get a new hand on the go. Sculpting Steel just copies any other artifact we need on the battlefield, and so we get a copy. And then one of our win conditions, Simulacrum Synthesizer is in as well. As long as we're casting artifacts for mana value 3 or greater, we get those construct tokens, which I love. This card is just fantastic. It really is. Temple Bell gives us more card draw ability. Uthros Research Craft. Whenever you cast an artifact spell, draw a card, put a charge counter on this spacecraft. Yeah, okay then, thanks. And then this gives flying, and this spacecraft gets +1/+0 for each artifact we control, which is nice when we get it stationed up to 12. So, aims. Another one of the win conditions, Etherflux Reservoirs here. Hopefully we'll get there to do the whole 50 life and have over 50 life to do 50 damage to someone. The Crystal Skull Izu Spyglass also makes an appearance. Gives a bit of mana ramp. Look at the top card of our library. You may play historic lands and cast historic spells from the top of your library. Yeah, basically we're going to be using this to cast artifacts off the top of our deck. Let's go for it. Font of Mythos for more card draw, and I just like the artwork on here, so I left it here because it's quite funny. Another game changer, the One Ring. We're going to have artifacts come into play. We need to protect ourselves at least once every so often. We might as well have this here to get some more card draw on the go. We've already blown, we're already on bracket 4, so we might as well carry on. Thran Dynamo just gives a bit more ramp. Unwinding Clock, so we can untap all our artifacts during each other player's untap step. Mirrorworks, we can copy of any of our artifacts as they come into play by paying the extra 2. The Throne of Eldraine, because we're playing mono, might as well have all the extra blue mana. Contagion Engine, just for the whole double proliferation and the whole -1/-1 counter on each creature target player controls, which takes care of one of the biggest threats on the board 9 times out of 10. And one of the cards that help us really do win, Portals for Phyrexia, comes into play. Everyone sacks 3, then at the beginning of our upkeep we get to nick a card from someone's graveyard and it becomes ours, so yay. Just 2 enchantments. Inexorable Tide, so when we cast a spell we get to proliferate. And the new one coming in from the Spider-Man set, Imposter Syndrome. Yeah, whenever a non-token creature you control deals combat damage to a player, create a token that's a copy of it, except it isn't legendary. Yeah. Lands, Might be a little bit low, but I think we'll be okay. We've got 35 lands in here, 19 islands, Khan, all the search lands you can think of. Field of the Dead's here to give us some more blockers eventually. Flooded Strand, Inventor's Fair. We've got all the sacked lands to go and find our islands. They're here. And we have enough that we have everything going. One thing I will point out, Nykthos is here because we're in monocoloured. Meridian Landscapes here to go and fetch us 2 islands when we need them. See the Synod is an artifact land. Shrine of the False Gods, because, you know, a lot of our spells are colourless. If we can get 7 lands into play, we might as well have some extra mana. The Moonguard Raceway, if we can get up to speed 4 to double the mana production from this. And Uthros Titanic Core, because I haven't really had a deck I can play it in yet. And yeah, having that kind of Tolarian Academy effect, even if it does cost us 1 blue mana to tap it, yeah, could be really useful in this deck. And that's it. That is my take on Lady Octopus or Merata, depending where you're playing the deck. Yeah, mono blue artifact decks always have a bad reputation, I think mainly because of Urza that I've included in the deck. But this one I think is a little bit different. It could be a little bit more fun. So I hope you like this one. Let me know in the comments down below if there's anything else you would be including. I always read all the comments, I respond to them. Please hit the like button, hit the share button, hit the subscribe button if this is your first time here, pretty please. And if you can, I'd really love it if you'd hit the cheer button if you're watching this on mobile device of some description, iPhone, iPad, Android, whatever, just to help me get that little bit more of the channel's recognition going on, which has been helping this last couple of weeks I've been asking for. So thank you to everybody who's used their cheers on the videos. But for now, that's it. Let me know in the comments to say anything else you'd include, and I'll be back tomorrow with a quick diversion away from the Spider-Man decks for this week. So come back tomorrow, check out tomorrow's deck. I'll see you later. Have a good one. Bye.